Welcome back to the From Field to Plate podcast. I'm your host, Jeremiah Dowdy, and today I'm with Brian McKinnon of Pacbak. It's a company that probably a lot of you haven't heard about, but it's a company that is making waves. You guys have already won, 2 ICAST's new products, right? Which is...
we got...
No, go for it.
Yeah, we got best new hard and soft cooler in 2022, and then all around best of show, which labeled us as the best new product in the sport fishing industry, which is huge. I mean, we did that as a startup with prototypes. And then we got best new cooler in Canada via Canada Outdoors in January 2023.
Yeah, but Canada doesn't count though. That's like our little sister.
And then 2 weekends ago we got best new camping and outdoor product for 2024, and then best all around fishing and marine product for 2024 at the Big Rock Nashville Expo. So that's another huge one.
That's awesome. Yeah, and so kind of we'll get into your story a little bit, but I had a chance to use this product. For those of you who don't know what this product is, there's 2. One of them is a cooler that's like kind of multi-faceted cooler. You've seen the Yetis, you've seen the Blue, you've seen the Canyon coolers, which are just a rotomotor cooler. Yep, if you're watching, it's in the back. What this cooler does is it's got a bunch of different parts to it. It's 2 different storage parts. It's got a top that comes off that can use as a table, a cutting board, as well as, storage for what they have is a battery powered vacuum sealer, which I was very, very skeptical. I'll be honest with you. When Corey reached out and was telling me about this, I was like, okay, sure. No problem. And you've probably seen a lot of my feedback on the cooler. I know Corey has been talking, but it got sent to me to use and abuse, and I have used and abused it. And I'm pretty impressed with it, as well as a bunch of other people. So we'll get into that a little bit more about the product and what it is and kind of how I've used it and where you're designed. But I know you've got kind of not a cool story, but a story of, tragedy and triumph that a lot of people might not know about, and kind of where your company started and founded, and one that touches close to my heart, because I had lots of friends at the same place that you were at because of where I live. And so if you're comfortable enough, I'd like, kind of just give a brief synopsis of kind of where you started in the company, kind of what happened, and then where you've taken it kind of today. And then we'll talk about products and how I've used it as well.
Yeah. Man, where do I even start with that? It kind of goes back before, honestly, before we were talking, the company that I'm actually getting back in my hands right now is where kind of most of the devastation started. Vegas was really the cherry on top that kind of flipped me upside down. But I had a company called McKinnon Marine and created a product called Alumiski, which is an all aluminum personal watercraft for response and personal use too. Fun product and stuff. Ended up having a string of deaths in my friend group that seemed to just never stop. I was going to a funeral every month, sadly. A lot of them I was present for. Sadly, just terrible situations, and then, the whole idea really started because, one, I grew up in Alaska for this product. I grew up in Alaska. It wasn't even supposed to be a business. I wanted it. I wanted a battery operated vacuum sealer, and because of the crafts, I had everything compact, so I made a backpack first and then made this battery operated vacuum sealer. And a buddy of mine, Dan McGrew, he kind of took light in it and took an interest in it and stuff. And it became like our thing that we were just going to, hey, let's do this, and so we were working on it together. He was battling alcoholism fairly severely, and it started to be almost like a way out for him. And sorry, these are never easy to talk about, but he finally got so excited about life, he gave me a call and said, "Hey, buddy, I want to quit drinking. Can I come to your house?" I said, "Yeah." I poured everything I had down the drain and everything, and we got him to the house. And my buddy Richie was living with me at the time, and I had to go to a buddy John's housewarming party. Dan gave me a big old hug. "Thank you for letting me do this here." And no problem, man. I said, we're going to start tomorrow. You know, I'm going to go to this housewarming party and stuff, and I'll start with you. And Richie was there watching movies with him and stuff. And Richie went to bed. I came home late, found him on my floor. And, you know, we found him quite a bit of times like that. So didn't think much of it, checked to see if he was breathing and stuff. And he was. And so, you know, I got in bed. He was kind of like on the floor by my bed. You can tell he's trying to get to it. And, ended up putting my hand on his back and, you know, kind of saying, hey, tomorrow's another day, you know. Anyway, I woke up in the morning and, yeah, he was cold. We didn't realize that at the age of 28, you can be so dependent on alcohol that if you quit cold turkey, you can die. And that's what happened. He ended up bleeding out from the inside. So that set me in a really bad situation where it just mentally was not together, got highly taken advantage of by my advisors and investors at the Pacbak company, and pretty much got pushed out, which I was in no mental state to even fight with and stuff. So I walked away with pretty much nothing, did a majority stock conversion, and life didn't get easier. And so went through a couple more battles, and, you know, Adrian was right there with me. We were losing friends together. You know, he was part of our original friends group, which there's not a lot left, but we were more like brothers, you know. I'm sure that you have some people like that. And, yeah, life kind of crumbled down, and he knew that I was struggling when he came back, and he had a bad situation with his ex-girlfriend when he came back from commercial fishing, you know, found out that she was cheating on him and stuff like that. And he just was like, let's go, let's get out of here. We were sitting with my buddy Anders and him at the bar, and he was like, let's go to Vegas. You know, I'm taking you to Vegas for this concert, and you just got to get your mind right, and let's get away. And I was like, I can't do it. There's no possible way. And the mother of my kids will kill me, which is, she likes me again. She's our CMO and my best friend now. But I just told him I couldn't do it. I went to the bathroom and came back out, you know, and he was just like, I already bought your ticket. I bought everything. We're leaving. Like, we're going. And so we went and had the best time of our lives until sadly the shooting happened at the concert, and he died in my arms there. And that's the thing. It just finally flipped me upside down. And, obviously battled a bit with PTSD, which I wasn't prepared for. You know, I was one of those guys that was like, oh, come on. You know, I had a lot of military vet buddies and stuff that I used to talk to, but it was like, let's get together. Like, let's move on, you know? And I felt selfish after I ended up with it, because it's an incredibly real thing.
Yeah.
And it's crippling.
Yeah. Two really good friends that were there, husband and wife. You know, he was filming hunting videos for me, going out and doing stuff. And after the event, it was, you know, couldn't even be around me because I owned firearms. For, you know, New Year's right after that, we took them out to the middle of the desert to camp because they didn't want to be around fireworks. And it's one of those deals, as someone that was watching it, I was like, oh my gosh, like, I have friends that are military, like you talked about. I take out veterans for hunts and have sat in blinds with people who won't even, you know, like, they only use archery now because of what happened. And it was crazy to watch the development. And that was just one couple. I had multiple, because again, where we live, you know, I'm here in Southern California. So it was 3.5 hours to go to a concert. So everybody went to this concert in Vegas. And I was actually hunting antelope. And so I remember waking up we went out hunting, and I remember coming back and turning on the TV, and it was just everywhere. And it was just like every friend that I knew was there, was just, you know, my fingers were going insane. So.
Yeah. I met a lot of people from California there, actually. I mean, it was an amazing time. It literally was probably the best time I've ever had in my life up until. Yeah. It was just such an amazing group of people. Everybody was having such a good time. It just was, that's really what was hard to take on about it, is you were just laughing and having fun. And, you know, even you know, you know, kind of what happened with Adrian and what I saw afterwards. I mean, I was to the point that I would have attacks where, I mean, I would see stuff, you know, and I don't know, just no one was prepared for it, you know, and the injuries that I got and everything. It's just, I'd take 1,000 of them over the mental situation I had to deal with afterwards. And then coming back, I mean, I was going back to a life where I had just lost everything already. You know, I was in the process of losing everything. And, you know, I did, you know, meet someone that for a while made me feel like I was supposed to be alive, but that ended up kind of ending as well too. And that kind of, you know, pushed me downhill to a point where it was questionable. So I was just kind of lying about everything to everybody and putting a smile on. And, you know, Facebook is a powerful tool and stuff, so you can kind of put out the image that you're all right and everything's okay. Not even my family knew how bad it was. But I ended up losing everything and, you know, was homeless for quite some time. And I went to counselor after counselor, and it just wasn't working. I mean, I was telling them what they were going to tell me before they even told me, kind of thing. And it just wasn't working and stuff. And I've been to enough funerals where, you know, I know the process and how long it takes for most people to just forget and stop looking. And there was a lot of people concerned. Sorry, I look back on it as kind of selfish, but I just was smiling long enough so people would stop looking so I could kill myself. And I ended up doing that. I ended up trying, you know, I had to have reconstructive surgery on my shoulder and everything after a while. And I don't take painkillers, so I ended up having my painkillers stacked up and ended up calling the buddies that were, you know, they knew and they held my secret and stuff. And I just kind of was like, hey, I just want to go out. You know, can you guys take me out? And we did, went and had a good time, and I nonchalantly just, you know, said my byes without them knowing and went home. And about 7 o'clock in the morning, I got home, had a half a bottle of vodka left, pulled out the pills and ate them all, kind of washed them down with the bottle. And then about, I don't know, around 7:45-ish or so, you know, kind of went to sleep, fell asleep on the floor and stuff at the building I was staying in. And at like 8:30, the 7.1 earthquake happened. So ended up having to, I survived because of that, you know, obviously was found, I got revived. And oops, did I lose you?
No, you still got your audio, no video.
Yeah, I gotcha. So I ended up being revived because of that. And I just remember coming out of it, and I just, God, man, I felt so selfish. And so I made a decision. I mean, obviously, by the grace of whoever believes in whatever, I wasn't supposed to go, you know. So started to figure out, okay, well, what am I going to do from here, you know? And I went and got a job on the North Slope. And the original drawing for this cooler was actually on the back of my piss test to get that job. It's actually framed underneath my patent. And just kept going. And then I ended up meeting a veteran, and he kind of pulled me aside at a bar and was like, hey, you know, we'd really like you to come talk to us, you know. And so that is what finally saved me. These guys kind of pulled me in and taught me what I have, or have, I'll always have it, but the triggers and what brings it on, when it's happening, what's happening, and how to deal with it, how to kind of subdue it, and really taught me how to live with it. And there was, one guy really told me, he's like, the key secret is you have to have something that you're focused on. There's got to be a direction out of where you're at. And I just kind of was like, well, I got this idea, so I'm just going to go nonstop. I promised my kids that, I'd get them a house and I was going to be something that they could be proud of. And so I ended up staying up on the slope, and half my paychecks went to, design work and patent work and building my kids a house. And, now we got this house on the lake in Alaska and everything. And we ended up with this great product after some time, and started pushing it out to some people and talked to some friends, got introduced to Jack Arbor, which is my partner. And that man, geez. Well, sorry. Going through this is never easy, like it seems like it's going to get easier to talk about every time, but it just isn't. Hate reliving it, but he kind of took me in and really believed in me and invested in the company, and we started to put the stuff together and get some people behind us and a lot of interest and stuff. And at the last second, I was told by a couple people to go to ICAST, and then ICAST. We had a meeting. I was like, we're going to ICAST, and it was like next week. Like it was really quick. We weren't supposed to get in, and they let us in, which was amazing. And we had this little 10 by 10 booth in the back with 3 prototype coolers and 6 prototype sealers and these nobodies. And we got in the best new product showcase against like 900 and just under 1,000 people of the biggest names in the industry. This is the SEMA show, the fishing industry, and we ended up winning those awards, and it just took off. It's changed everything. It changed our lives. Everybody was looking at us. Everybody wanted the product. They were incredibly impressed with it because no one's really ever made a cooler better.
Yeah.
We constantly hear all the time now that, because our cooler's out now, the other coolers and Yeti and these guys are just plastic boxes, so it's been amazing. And again, we've been growing, and we got great investors, and now we have a warehouse and unbelievable teammates. And our team is more of a family than anything, and we've really been pushing, and this thing is just now starting to take off. We launched in Bass Pro Cabela's and about to launch in Shields, and we teamed up with Big Rock Sports, and those guys have been incredible with helping us grow this company. And 4-wheel campers, they reached out, knew that I was going to do this tour after ICAST this year and or last year. And they sponsored me this camper. We were able to build this truck and stuff, and I hit the road. And I've been walking in every single store that wants to do business with us, shaking hands face to face. And this is where I'm at now. I'm in Miami right now. I got a meeting tomorrow, and going to continue on this trip. About to do the Gulf Coast all the way to Texas, then California coast, and
when you come
already done the whole East Coast.
When you come to California, let me know, because I'll take you out. I don't drink, and I don't know if you do anymore, but we can go out and get some breakfast, or I can hang out and talk for a little bit, because I'm all for that. So, but no,
that'd be great.
I appreciate your story, and I know that I've heard a little bit about it, not from you, but from some of your people that work with you. And to me, it's one of those deals that I look at. It's just so powerful and so amazing to look at someone who struggles, and then realizes that their life is bigger than themselves. And I think so often we get caught up in ourselves, right? Like, you know, I'm allergic to bovine fats. Like, I'm allergic to beef. I can't eat beef. As a chef who can't eat beef and can't cook with beef tallow or can't cook with any of that stuff, it's one of those deals where it's like, well, then you're not really, you know, you can't cook a good ribeye, so screw you type aspect of it, right? And so looking back at all these, I mean, I've got a ton of allergies. I wouldn't be who I was unless I struggled through that or struggled through, you know, I've never had a drop of alcohol in my life because like you, I watched all my friends and all my family go through incredible heartache and incredible pain and torment with a liquid. And so for me now at 40 years old, I'm like, man, I'm so glad I never, ever, you know, I had the willpower and strength to not follow the path that so many people followed in my family, in my life, in my family, you know, my friends' onset. And even to this day, when you go in hunting and fishing industry, it's huge. Alcohol is, you know, you come back from a hunt or fishing trip and everyone's getting a highballer, you know, and filling it up to the top. And it's funny to watch some of these guys that I'm hunting with now who are like giving up the chew, giving up the alcohol because they're like, wait, I can go out and do this without being drunk the next day. And so for you, I mean, I appreciate you telling the story because there's somebody out there right now that's listening, and they're like, oh, there's more for me. There's more, you know, to this crazy life of things that just feel like they're piling one on another and another and another and another. And so again, I thank you, and I'm glad you're here, and I'm glad that God sent an earthquake to wake you up. And
I appreciate that. Yeah.
Because I mean, like I said, I think there's a reason for everything, and there's a reason that it didn't stick. You know, I have a really good friend, and she's got amazing scars on her wrists, and that's her story. It's like, it didn't take, and there's more for me, and there's more for my kids, and there's more for fill in the blank. So again,
that's 100% it. I mean, that's kind of what drives me every day. Obviously, I still live with the PTSD and heavy anxiety and stuff like that, and kind of old feelings come back here and there. But I've learned to use what I went through, and I'm blessed to be able to be here to help a lot of people too. You know, I've taken what I've learned from, you know, the vets and my experiences and stuff to help other people make it out of where they are. And that's something that really has taken a massive passion in my life and is a goal, you know, like Pacbak and the other companies that I'm starting and I'm involved in and stuff now. To me, it's the end goal is to be able to create something where I could help a lot of people. And this is just simply the vessel, you know, so everything that goes into this company and the success that happens with this company and the profits that are made from this company, they're going to go back, you know, toward helping people.
Which I think is massive, you know, and with the From Field to Plate stuff, it's the same way. It's like, there's so many people in the outdoor industry, as you know, you're going to start to get involved with a lot of just fake people who all they want is, you know, the face, or they want this or they want that. And it's refreshing when there's people in the outdoor industry who are authentic and real. And you'll hear people all the time. I always talk about, like, to me, authenticity is more powerful than any dollar amount that can be thrown at anything. And companies that I work with and support, it's, you know, I've had companies that throw a big number at me. And I'm like, I don't like your core values. I don't like who you surround yourself with. I don't like the people that you are. So no, you know, at the end of the day, if my kids can't look at me and say, oh, I respect my dad for the decisions he made, then it's not, who cares what a dollar amount is? I mean, as you know, you were homeless and look at you now, you know?
No, 100%. Yeah. And I mean, the outdoor industry has been incredible. The fishing industry specifically has just been, you know, it's built up of a lot of people that aren't just trying to make money and stuff too. It's, you know, there are those big kind of, you know, profits only, numbers only type people and stuff, which is, I guess, necessary in some fashion, but they've been so open armed, you know, like it seems like it's kind of a shared feeling, you know, that we make and sell products that help people get away from their stressful lives and stuff like that too. So I definitely feel like I found my home in the hunting and fishing industry for sure.
100%. So, well, welcome to the group. Stay away from certain people, but embrace other people. That's all I can say, because you'll find out quick who your true friends are and who people that want to back you as a company and want to support you. So let's kind of shift this. Let's start talking about these two amazing products you have right now. Well, I guess 3, because you got a really, really cool backpack as well. But let's talk about, first of all, this sealer. Kind of the mindset behind why you started it. For those of you who don't know, this is a sealer that runs off of a lithium-ion battery, just like you would run a drill battery. It looks just like a drill battery. Am I right? And you charge it, you plug it in, and the thing is a powerhouse, a workhorse for quick on-the-go type, sealers. It's a decent size. What is it? It's a 10-inch sealing. Or is it 12?
Yeah, you can do up to 10.5-inch rolls, but you can do 11.5-inch pre-cut bags. Yeah.
So I know that I got sent this beginning of the summer when I was heading to Oregon and Washington to fish Buoy 10 for the summer salmon run. Right, we were there for second season opener. On opening morning, we were out there, but the day before, we went out and just killed it on rock cod. And rockfish and black bass, lingcod, sculpin, you name it, cabezon. We limited out on rock and bottom fish. And we came back to the dock, and I bust this thing out of the backpack. And I remember all the guides, because we were with a bunch of different guides and friends. They were like, what the heck is this? Because they're used to filleting the fish, throwing it in a Ziploc bag, throwing it to the clients and be like, here you go, here's your fish, right? And so I didn't use the rolls you sent. I used like 100 pre-cut bags just because I want to sit there and seal one and then seal and waste the battery. Because you get like 100 seals out of a battery what I was finding, right? And so I was like, I don't want to cut that in half by sealing twice and vacuuming and all the other stuff. So we knocked out all that rockfish in like 25 minutes, all vacuum sealed, and I had a label maker. We labeled it, like ready to go. And I remember guides are walking over. Our main guide Cameron was like, "Guys, come check this thing out! Oh my gosh!" The dock was loaded. I remember I text Corey. I was like, "I need a code because these guys are like freaking out."
Yeah, I remember that.
Yeah, these guys are freaking out, wanting to buy this. So send me a code that they can take 10-15% off so that we can get it. And these guides, half of them went and bought it then. Half of them were signing up for the program you guys have. And it was absolutely insane to see. To me, it was just a vacuum sealer because I use vacuum sealers every single day. But in the eyes of a guide, they're thinking, oh my gosh, how much better for my client is it when I can vacuum seal and have it ready to get on an airplane? Because if it's in a Ziploc bag, you throw it into a cooler and it's filling full of water. It may fall out or there's some sort of liquid in there. And it was crazy to watch it. Well, then we go with salmon fish the next day and I had charged the battery. We come back from salmon. We're doing the same thing. Like I had longer bags. We're vacuum sealing, like, cause I wanted a whole side with the whole belly and everything still attached. We're vacuum sealing all that. Well, the next thing we know, the guides are coming over and they're like, "Hey, can I borrow that real quick? Hey, can I?" So they're taking that cooler over to vacuum or the sealer to vacuum seal salmon on other boats. And it was funny. I called Corey. I was like, dude, this thing, there's some things I would change, which I've mentioned, like as a chef and as a guy, some little tweaks that I would make, but that's just me being anal saying, hey, I would do this for this, or a thicker this, or a wider this, which is good for you guys. Cause when V2 comes out, you can be like, hey, look at all these cool functions and all these cool new things. But it was just awesome to be able to have a vacuum sealer in the middle of nowhere without a plug, without anything. So then I went from that to bird hunting. And I remember we were out bird hunting and it was like, we're out in the middle we're plucking birds out in the middle of a field, throwing them into it, vacuum sealing them, throwing them into the cooler, like then and there. Then we take it deer hunting. And when we were gutting the deer out in the middle of the field, you pull this thing out, vacuum seal the heart, the liver, the kidneys, the coal fat, whatever you want. So you're not and throw it right back into the chest cavity of the animal, drag the animal out, and then you're not ruining and getting dirty all this amazing meat, which it was crazy because the applications are endless for something that you can throw in a backpack and bounce it around the back of the car, pull it out, and I keep it in my truck, just for that fact. I never know when, my daughter got done with sports, and it's like, dude, your socks stink so bad. Brr, vacuum seal them so the car doesn't stink. I know it sounds stupid, but it was one of those deals where it's like, we got an hour and a half drive home and your feet stink. Well, give me your socks. Or duck hunting too. Like, we were duck hunting. We were just throwing ducks and vacuum sealing them right then and there to throw them into the cooler. And I don't know. That was, I think, the coolest thing on my aspect of being able to instantly do it versus coming home. And I've got big commercialized vacuum sealers, and this thing isn't going to compete with those. It's not going to be the commercial vacuum sealer, but it's the, oh my gosh, I just went fishing on the boat. I've got, a bucket full of crappie. I need to do this real quick on the boat to throw it in the cooler so I can go keep fishing or whatever, and that's, I think, is where the coolest application for that product is. So.
Yeah, that was, that was kind of the basic concept of it is, again, this wasn't even supposed to be a product that was going to go to market. It's just me growing up in Alaska, we're in the woods, and exactly what you just said. Usually we fillet the fish, split in the middle, put it in a Ziploc bag, throw it in the cooler. And by the time you get home, you're putting your boat away and stuff like that. And you pull this cooler out. Your cooler's slimy and nasty and everything. But you pull these bags out and you pull that fish out, and it's discolored. It's softer. It smells different. It's not the same fish that you just caught, And then growing up in Alaska, I got pretty spoiled with catching salmon and, taking it out, filleting it, and throwing it straight on the grill, which is a whole different taste than people even know exists. And so I wanted to be able to vacuum seal and preserve that fish right there on the spot to one, have that taste and get that taste and keep it there. And, two, you get home and everything's done. It's just the convenience of it is unbelievable. And it's, you're going on all these different uses for it. That's been the really fun part for me, is having people, send us videos and pictures and how they use the product and stuff. And you're talking about your socks, actually one of our big things that happened with, like the 4-wheel camper community and the camping community, is, one guy posted a video about him running a big bag, and he was putting all his trash in it, and then he would vacuum seal it. And he's talking about how there's no smell for bears. There's no slime. There's no nothing. Throw it wherever, put it in the truck, and it's all completely sealed in and nothing's ever going to leak. So it's just like a whole nother use for it. And then we're not even going to get into like response and the coolers with, organ transport and all sorts of stuff, and mobile administration sites and field dressing and stuff like that we didn't even know. We talked to some medical people, and I thought they were going to be really heavy on the cooler, but this one doctor was all amped up saying, do you realize what this thing can do? I mean, we can be out in the field with this thing, and all the syringes and gauze pads and all the stuff you can actually put into a bag, seal it, double bag it, seal it again, and it's no longer a biohazard for transport. So it's been amazing seeing the different uses for it and stuff too. But, going back in the beginning of what you're saying too, that's kind of our biggest thing is the reaction when people see these for the first time, because it's such a different product. Like, this has never been an option. Yeah. So people don't know that it even exists, or that you can even do that you can fillet your fish or dress your deer or dress your birds and stuff out in the field, and it's done.
Yeah.
Getting home.
There was one crappy one that came out. Cabela's put it out like 5, 6, 7 years ago, but it was plugged into your cigarette lighter.
Yeah.
And it sucked. Like, it was one of those ones that would plug into a cigarette lighter, and you were like, yeah, this is dumb. It doesn't even work. And so when Corey first reached out, I remember I was like, oh, okay, I've tried one of these before. Like, that's literally what in my mind. I was telling my wife, I was like, I don't know. She's like, oh, I know you complained about that one. I was like, yeah, it was awful. And I remember I got it, I charged it, and I went straight to like the kitchen, grabbed food, and I was like, oh, wow. And then I was leaving the next day. Like, I think it got to my house on Tuesday, and I was leaving Wednesday morning to go to Bowie 10. And so it was like, okay, let's throw it in there. Let's see how this thing works, and feed it to the sharks. And it was crazy. Even we went out duck hunting in Washington. I flew out to Washington. We duck hunted 3 weeks ago. And I remember we get there and there's talking to all the duck guides and we're having fun. This was a guide buddy hunt. All the guides were done guiding and they wanted to go do a buddy hunt. So we went out there and just annihilated ducks. But I remember one of the guys was like, "Oh, you're the guy that had that battery powered vacuum sealer, right?" I'm like, "Sure, if that's the guy I'm known for." You know, not the amazing food that I cooked, not the, you know, all this, but the guy with the, so we brought it out there too. Cause it's small enough where you can throw it into your suitcase, you know, minus the battery has to go in your check, you know, in your carry on because it's lithium, you know, but, other than that, it was super easy and it's cool too. Cause you can charge it, you know, on your drive. It was an 1.5-hour drive. So I just plugged it in, made sure it was all tip-top charged when we get there. And then, like I said, I got about 100 seals on it before it stopped doing it well. So, but that's just the one aspect. Then you guys, you know, this cooler that you designed, kind of talk a little bit about that, and I'll tell you kind of how I've used and abused that as well.
Yeah, so the cooler, I mean, it's, like I said, it kind of started out as a backpack, and then, believe it or not, I had a dream where I talked to my friend Adrian that I lost in the Vegas thing, and in the dream he was like, "Start with the cooler, you know, go to market with the cooler and stuff." So I started building a cooler, and I'm one of those guys that's very stingy, so I have multiple coolers. Like, I don't like my drinks and my food and stuff to mix with the meat that I just got, and so I just wanted the best all around thing. You know, I always bring multiple coolers. I bring a fold out table to do my filleting and stuff in. I've had a battery operated vacuum sealer for, you know, 13, 14 years. I built the first one out of a emergency car jumper battery and stuff and kind of wired it not so well. I mean, every time I used to press the button, I used to back up and wait for it to blow up. But, you know, so I just kind of look at all my gear and how I live as an Alaskan and as an angler and as, you know, as a hunter and stuff, and what do I need, and just kind of made it into one product, you know. So it's strongest. I wanted the top quality, best of everything. I mean, everything we make is above and beyond. Even the design of the cooler, I did over 100 renditions before I finally was like, that's it, that's the one. I wanted it strong. I wanted it nice and heavy. I wanted it stable. It's wider than regular coolers and stuff, so you can have a nice standing platform and casting platform. I personally have been standing on a cooler in the middle of Alaska Ocean and rocked a little bit off the cooler and went over the edge. So that was a big thing for me, is to have a stable platform. But, you know, it's got the, you know, the original one that came out, the E88MK, which is a Provider Series 88 quart mobile kitchen. You know, it's got the one compartment that's 58 quarts on one side. You got the 22 quarts on the other side. And then you got the 8-quart compartment inside the lid underneath a complete or a slide out cutting board. So the sealer fits actually underneath there. And then the table goes on top of the main compartment lid. So even with the table stowed on top, you can kind of see it back here. It just folds down to a regular cooler size. You can actually, I wanted to be able to have it when it sits like that, like a regular cooler. You can still access everything and still use it as a cooler. You can pull the cutting board out the side. But, you know, when you have the table out, you have this extended workspace and all of this stuff that doubles the top workspace. And the big one, I wanted to fit perfect on a full-size tailgate. Now we have the 60 quart that came out, and it fits perfectly on, say, like a Tacoma tailgate and stuff as well. But it's just the all-in-one, best quality, best ice retention, best everything cooler. So you don't have to have multiple things. You know, you grab this thing, it's everything. Load your gear up, load your sealer up, throw it in the truck, you're ready to rock.
Yeah, we were I had the cooler, and I've got a ton of coolers because, like you, when I hunt, it's like, this is a meat one, this is a drink one, this is a ready-to-eat, especially as a chef, like, ready-to-eat product is not going to mix with cooked product because that's cross-contamination. And so it's always like, oh, I show up at the desert, and it's like, oh, here's Jeremiah's 7 different coolers that are out there, right? Or the river, or we're doing whatever. And so we took it out. The first one was out dove hunting. We took it out in the field, and I had one side, the bigger with the 55 full of drinks for the dogs, for the girls, you know, snacks for the kids out there who were dove hunting. And the other one, I just had the smaller 22. I just had ice in it. And it was great because when we came, it was like, get the birds, throw the birds right onto ice as we're going. And it had its own lid, its own compartment. Like there was nothing to it. And then we just wheeled the sucker out at the end of the day. And we went and we could challenge our birds. And it was cool for the fact, just that alone, where nothing was being cross-contaminated. There was no feathers in this. There was no this. And then we go out to the desert to motorcycle ride and to quail hunt. And it was like, I had all of the ready-to-eat food and drinks in the big side, and then the other side I had all the meat we were going to cook for the week. And it was great because the kids weren't continually opening up the cooler on the side where the meat was going to thaw out faster or what needed to stay colder. And it was awesome because, again, I didn't have to worry about one whole cooler just for that. But then busting out that side table for someone like myself and yourself who are processing fish and game, it was a game changer. For my wife to be able to make sandwiches was her game changer. Because a lot of times she's like, where do I make it? I don't want to put it on top of the cooler because it's dirty, it's whatever. For her to have a spot where she could make sandwiches or pour her coffee, like she set up her whole coffee station on it, was key because you could still access the cooler and have the table next to it without like a whole extended thing. So I was, again, blown away just by the ingenuity of the whole thing where when it was down, the lid worked as one. When it was apart, you had the dual compartments, plus you have all the different, I think you had both plugs on each side so you could drain them independently. So, again, that whole cross-contamination aspect of it was completely out, which was a very cool thing from someone from my standpoint. I was expecting the large side to have a plug and the small side, like most times, it's like, oh, no, there's no plug on the small side. It's like, okay, great. Appreciate that. But no, it was phenomenal.
Thank you. I appreciate that.
And it's so easy.
No, I like hearing from people like you and stuff to get the actual use out of it. And it, the design worked because I'm, even the team gets frustrated with how much of a perfectionist I am when it comes to designing our products. And it's all out of use and utility. It's all out of failures out in the field and stuff that I'm like, I don't want to go through that again. So this needs to be perfect type thing. So
yeah, and I do like the width of it because, as you were saying, it's wider, so it's more stable. But I also noticed that in the back of the truck, when you stacked two on top of each other, they're the same level as the bed height, right? I don't know if that was by design or whatever, but you stack a Yeti 120 on top of a Yeti 120, it's going to stick 8 inches above the bed, and now you're trying to strap stuff down. You don't want it to fall out. You're trying to – this was like a perfect level aspect playing field where you're like, okay, look, it's in the back of the truck. It's not going to fall over. It's not going to fall out. I don't have to worry about strapping it down. So yeah, no, I
part of that too is, the truck that I had at the time, we used to try to throw, a lot of people have tonneau covers to secure their gear and everything in the back. And it was hard to find a cooler that would fit underneath like a sleek top or like a tonneau cover.
Yeah.
And ours fit right below the bed rail and stuff, so you can actually still have your tonneau cover and slide this thing in there.
Yeah, no, it's huge because that was one thing. I've got a big old camper shell on mine because usually I'm loaded to the max when I go do all these weird hunting trips and all the other stuff and bringing home 800 pounds of meat. But I think overall it was awesome. So I know I've kept you for a while. You've got a lot of stuff to do. So tell everybody where they can find you guys on social media, where they can find your product. I know I just Googled it when you were talking about it, and it, like, when you type in your name, the very first thing that popped up was Bass Pro Shop and Cabela's before your even website, which kudos on you for getting that SEO right away. But where can they find you? Where can they find the product? Where can they interact with you if they have questions, comments, concerns, all that good jazz?
You can go to our website. It's pacbak.com, pacbak.com, to get direct. And we're in Bass Pro and Cabela's in Alaska right now. We're conversing with them. Had a great launch in Alaska. So we're moving into multiple stores in the lower 48 and talking about Canada as well. We'll be launching in 7 different Shields stores. We ended up getting a corporate contract with them recently. So in February, you'll be able to go to Shields and get them. Here in about a month or so, it's going to be on the AAFES website. So all the military personnel and stuff can go on there. and get their great deals on that on their website. And then we're going to convert into stores after that. And then, I mean, we're all across the west coast and east coast and all your little local stores. I mean, we take care of a lot of the independent local stores as well too. That was something that I personally wanted to go with the company, is not just do the big stores. And but our social media is Pacbak Co. at Pacbak Co. So you got Instagram, Facebook, YouTube. You just do Pacbak Co. Go follow us and stuff. And my personal Instagram is Mr. 9 Lives AK. So if you want to find me there, I would love to follow. And I'm out here traveling the United States in this camper truck. I've been out here for about 8 months now. Like I said, I walk into every single store and shake hands face to face with every single person I work with. So it's pretty fun to see where I'm at and what I'm doing. And if you want to follow me and, you know, take me fishing when I'm in your area or something like that, reach out.
Yeah. And that's huge on that aspect of it. And if you want to see a really pretty picture of me holding a salmon, you can go to their website, like he said, and just scan. And there's a nice, beautiful picture of all of us after our salmon trip, all lined up with some big old salmon. So, again, Brian, I really appreciate you being honest and open and being raw and emotional, because I think dudes nowadays are so afraid to show emotion. And so when two dudes can sit together and show emotion, I think it really helps solidify the fact. And if you guys are struggling with anything that you need someone to talk to, you can talk to myself. I guarantee you Brian will probably sit down and talk with you through social media. He'll probably even give you his phone number to chat if you're struggling with stuff. We've both dealt with it from what it sounds like. So, again, that option's always there on the table. This podcast isn't just about food and talking. If you need help and support in any facet, please reach out to myself. And I guarantee you, like I said, I just from talking today, I feel Brian feels the same way I do, where we are an ear to listen and a mouth to shut up until you need it. So again, Brian, thanks for coming on. I really appreciate it. And to everyone else that's listening, go check it out, because it is a phenomenal product.